All right, so I've always been, maybe it's because I'm Greek. I've always been a thinker. I've always been phenomenal when it comes to psychology, um, and I do. I'm very observant. I watch people very carefully, their mannerisms, how they interact with people, and everything. So, now at 55, I think I have quite a bit of wisdom, and I've come to the conclusion that the biggest problem, the biggest threat, the biggest destroyer of America has been the movement. The feminist movement um, didn't start out probably with malintent. They just wanted to have, right to vote and whatnot, right? Okay, great. The problem is, I don't know exactly when it started, but definitely from around in the last about 60 years, roughly, is when it got more militant, and the goal wasn't to just simply help women be all that they can be and be able to do whatever it is they want to do without having anybody trying to stop them in any way. Um, their goal switched to be destroy men at every avenue you can, attack them, blame them for everything, and then at the same time try and uplift women, but artificially instead of just giving them the ability to go out and do what they want. They have pushed to artificially, basically just almost hand them jobs. They still have to, earn it to an extent, but nowhere near. Um, and again, this is not every case, but just I have to generalize on this. But basically, they're getting handed positions. I mean, California, a couple of years back, made it mandatory for any corporation that had a board to put a woman on the board, regardless of if you didn't have any women, just automatically you have to put a woman. So you're just handing that woman that position. Why? Just because it's not a woman, that doesn't mean that there's any sexism. But here's the thing: it only goes one way, because if a woman owns a corporation and she can have all women and no men, and no harm, no foul. You can't even complain. It'll never even get to court. So I'll give you a personal example for myself. Excuse me, sorry. Back in 2005, I was working for LA Fitness in Downey. And the men had a very strict dress code. I mean, very strict. And this is a gym. But they had us in slacks. And the slacks better be pressed properly, better be nice. And not, not something you wore the other day and you just threw on today. No. Dress shoes, and they better be shined. Company polo tucked in neatly. And that polo needs to be, the collar needs to be tight. Everything needs to be nice and clean. Your ID badge and the ID badge needs to be straight. If it's just askew a little bit, they're on your ass. So it was very strict. For the women, nothing. No dress code at all. Whatever you want. They didn't even need to wear an ID badge. So you had women coming in mini skirts and heels with the top showing their breasts. No ID badge. This is a gym. It's not a club. And that was fine. And so I called and I complained. I said, hey man, that's not right. It's a very strict dress code, and for us and nothing for them. I mean, I remember one time the manager got chewed out horribly because one of the sales guys, his shirt was kind of half tucked out on one side, and then his ID badge was kind of crooked. And he got chewed out badly for that. And the women are walking around. I mean, one's walking around in jeans. The other one's got yoga pants. You know, what? They can walk around with whatever they want. So I called HR to complain, and they almost laughed at me, like they started to and then held back. And I said, well, what's the deal? I mean, well, that's the rule. That's it. What do you mean that's the rule? That's discrimination. And they said, no. So what do you mean, no, it's not? There's no rule for the women, and men have to be very strict on it. What? That's straight out discrimination. And then I said, well, let me ask you this. What if it was the other way around? And men could dress how they want, and women couldn't. Oh, well, we would correct that right away. You know, ridiculous. Sorry. So, at the time, I had a big law firm on retainer. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And I called them, told them everything, and they said virtually the exact same thing. Oh, you don't have a case. What do you mean I don't have? How could I possibly not have a case? This is ridiculous. And then again, I said, if it were the other way around, would I have a case? And they said, oh yeah, slam dunk. This was 2005. This wasn't just now. This is something that's been going on for decades, for generations. It's ridiculous. But I got a little bit off track. But what I really wanted to say was this: the way they've done it, if they've done it very sneakily. So they've gone after, and it's very well thought out. They've gone after judges, or people who are aspiring judges, lawyers, people who are aspiring to be politicians or just getting into politics, and whatnot. So people who are who are in government or who are just starting to try and get into government, and they went out for those men, and not just those specific men, but men who were yes men. They were basically spineless, weak, ballless men who wanted to be dominated by women or okay with being dominated by women. And so a good example is Roe v. Wade in 1973. Two of the justices who voted in favor of Roe v. Wade to make it precedent were conservatives. Now, why would two conservatives in 1973, no less, when the country was very conservative overall, why would they do that? Well, look at who their wives were. Go look at it. They were feminists. And so their feminist wives said, go out and vote so that women can murder their babies. And they would, yes, dear, and they'd shuffle off, and then at that moment act like a man. Yes, I'm going to vote for this. And then go home and, did you do good, dear? Spineless little men. And so that's what you have. Look at all the presidents going back probably 100 years. Strong feminist women. You look at most of the wives of all the politicians today, at least in federal government and probably most of the state governments, feminists. And those feminist women, they're not going to sit back and have a conservative husband and then have him go and vote for things that are against their radical vision of what the country should be like, or what the world should be like, because some man-hating lesbian told them that's how it should be. No, they're not going to stand for that. They're going to push their spineless, jellyfish, ballless husband to do their bidding. And so they go out and do it. Yes, dear. Little weasels. And the thing is, most Americans, we didn't know that any of this stuff was happening until recent years. Matter of fact, most people would probably don't even understand what I'm talking about right now. But Republican lawmakers knew it and said nothing, did nothing. Watched it happen and went, oh, because most of them have feminist wives too. Now, all feminists are not like that, and all feminists are not bad. But you have your really militant, your neo-Nazi feminists, ones that are they just are seething with hatred. They've been fed this book of lies that all their woes are because of men. That men are, like this giant conspiracy against them to hold them back. Women for decades now, you can go out and do whatever you want. Get whatever education you want. Get whatever job you want. Yeah, you might have some asshole here and there that might stop you, try and stop you or whatever. So what? It's just one dude. It's not the majority. And as far as equal pay, they've had equal pay for a long ass time. Now they actually have more than equal pay. And the way they have more than equal pay is because they're handed the money. They're handed a job or a raise, promotion. Look, here, I'll give you an example. It's men who came in the early days to build those corporations up. Like when a corporation started, an industry started, men built that up. They fought hard to get better working conditions, better pay, benefits, and they fought hard. They were treated like crap, absolute crap. Yelled at, cussed at, hurt on the job. They was so what? Get out of here and put somebody else in there. Treated badly, not paid well, and they fought hard to get good pay. And after all that, and maybe some of the guys are still on the job 25, 30 years, and then a woman would just walk on with no experience or very little experience and demand the same pay as that guy who's done all that work to lay the groundwork so that people coming in can get more money to start with and better treatment. And then they demand more money. And who are they to demand it? You just got here. Shut your mouth and go earn it. You have to earn it, right? And then men get more raises because they ask for more raises. You have to ask and keep asking and then demand. And if you're a great worker, then most of the time your demands will be met. Maybe you don't get the raise you want, but you get something. Women are notorious for not asking. They bitch to themselves, to each other, and then maybe after a long period of time, then they come out and they're mad. Yeah, they file a lawsuit or something. But you never asked for a raise. All you had to do was ask. Cheerleaders in the NFL, they got paid next to nothing for decades. They never asked for a raise. They just took it and that's it. And then finally, a bunch of women say, "Why we're not paying squat? We got to get paid more than this. They all make a ton of money. We got to get paid more than this. You can't even. It's not a living wage." And so they ask, and if enough of them ask firmly, and just like that, they got a good raise, and now they can make a living from it. Wow, big surprise! You have to just ask. Grow a pair, ladies, and ask for the raise, and then show them that you earned it, you deserve it, and then demand the raise. In most cases, that's all it takes. And it's not men trying to do it, it's just a matter of money. If corporations know they can get away with paying you less, and you're not going to say anything, then they're not going to say anything either. And save themselves some money. It always comes down to money. always comes down to money. So anyway, I keep getting sidetracked. The point is, the modern feminist movement in the last roughly 60 years, or a little bit, maybe a little less, they've made a concerted effort to destroy men at every opportunity they can in order to bring women up. Here's another example. Title IX. That wasn't, they say that was put in to help protect women's sports. Protect what? All you had to do was go out and try and, get people interested in watching women's sports. You didn't do that. Men will do that. They'll go out and promote themselves and drag people to the stadium to watch. Women don't do that. And so very few people were showing up. And a lot of schools are losing money. So they're like, well, we can't do this. We're losing money. So then Title IX came along. Well, they can't get rid of the women's sport. So what do? They got rid of a man's sport. The men's wrestling or whatever that was doing fine, to take that money and resources and put it in to help the women. So destroy the men to help the women. A lot of people don't even know that about Title IX. And then, of course, the worst off is the discriminatory law that attacks men to destroy them when it comes time for a divorce. All those laws are designed to destroy men, not women. Because if it's a woman that has the money, she's not treated poorly like a man does. Here's some things that happens in certain states. If a man is married, has a kid, then he finds out years later that kid's not even his. She had an affair, had someone else's child, and you were raising someone else's child as your own. Then you divorce her because of that. And the courts will tell you, you still have to pay child support for that kid that isn't even yours. That's every kind of wrong there is. She should owe you money back for doing that. But you now are on the hook till he's 18. Which is absurd. It's not even your kid. And if you don't pay, you go to jail. Is that not designed to destroy men? Right? And I've known men that were just their whole lives completely destroyed, and there's men that are living homeless on the street right now because of that. The only reason was because the divorce just destroyed them. Every aspect of their life. They thought everything was great. They had the American dream. The wife, a kid or two, the house, nice house in the suburbs, everything's great. And then the wife leaves them, and you're utterly destroyed. She gets the house. You have to spend, half your paycheck is gone before they even, just to take care of the wife and kids, or at least just the kids. And then, first they take taxes out as a single person. You don't get to even write them off, even though you're paying, right? So you get paid, take the max tax off. Then they take all the child support and alimony, whatever it is. So you don't even see, your paycheck is just cut to shreds before you even see it. Now you barely have enough to have a crappy apartment, and maybe you can have a car, like a beater car, or maybe you're just on public transportation and you don't have much extra money to do anything. And that's going to be your life for 10, 15 years. It's just devastated, man. I mean, downtrodden. One guy was telling me that he kept having to turn promotions down at work because he did the math. He figured that he would make less money with the promotion. He would get paid more, but then the wife would take him back to court to get more money, and then he'll be at a higher tax bracket, so his final paycheck will be less, and he'll have more hours and more stress. So he just kept turning down promotions. It's just devastating. And I know a bunch of guys who they got custody of the kids, and the wife has paid nothing to them. And I know 5 different guys, and not one of them has collected a penny from their wives. Nothing. Court ordered, and they pay nothing. And, men are attacked for something like that called deadbeats. But you don't hear it for the women, Anyway, I went on a little too long, I think. I don't know if I made my point strong enough. I don't feel I did. Maybe I'll do another video. But the point was, they've attacked through politics, through the courts, every which way they can to actively bring men down. Their ultimate goal basically is to bring the men practically to their knees and have women in control of every aspect of government. And men can only get jobs, the dirty jobs, the construction and the oil rigs and the, that sort of jobs. But any executive jobs, politics, high-level jobs, they want them all. So, anyway, that's that.